So I just had a question about liver gallbladder cleanse, so we'll go into that. Liver gallbladder cleanse is one of the easiest and most important cleanses that anyone can do. Because we've lived in such a sort of acidic environment, there's a guy, Andreas Moritz, I'll start with that. Andreas Moritz, M-O-R-I-T-Z. You can get the ebook online. He's got awesome books. And he's called The Amazing Liver Gallbladder Flush. If anyone wants it in Spanish, I actually have the ebook. You could email me, Greg at Beyond Thrival, and I'll just send it back to you. And you could read all the instructions. But yeah, it's the easiest cleanse to do if you do it right. There's really specific instructions to do it. So our stones basically start the moment we start clamping that cord at birth. You know, the cord should be pulsating until it stops. You know, the pulsation is all of our probiotics and all of our immune system is being downloaded during that time. Okay, they're just finally realizing that now. So most of us have had the cord clamped prematurely. The baby's born, cut the cord, boom. So that immediately starts liver and gallstones. Okay. So over acidic diet, any cereals fortify with excess calcium oxalate, all these different things that are out there. Any acidic food is going to start causing our body to hold liver and gallstones. So we talked a bit about the glutathione, which is the garbage bag. That's the main way we detox. So it's like a big hook, it grabs everything, pulls it liver, gallbladder, and out through the stool. So what happens is all this excess calcification gets stuck in the liver and the gallbladder, okay? And that starts to impede our ability to detox. So it's like trying to go out the door and there's all kinds of stuff there, you're trying to get rid of things, it's just everything's in the way. So the stones, the big stones your body says long term is going to put in the back, okay? So that's what you get, cleanse number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You get the big guys coming out, which are crazy to see. So the first cleanse you get, which we'll go over all the sort of instructions for, you get these tiny like granule sort of things, almost microscopic. Some people say, oh, the cleanse didn't work. So it's whatever's in front. It's a sand that basically comes out. Second, third, and fourth cleanse, you're starting to get little bigger ones, and everyone's different. It doesn't have to be this way. Some people get big ones out the first one. Then you get bigger ones. Usually they get bigger and bigger each time. Okay? And what you're doing is freeing up your ability to start to detox. And there's a huge emotional release as well. So I had a client say, well, the emotions are just, oh, I go crazy. I said, what? Anger and aggression, right? Yes. So that's what's stored in the liver. And depression, you know, anger turned inward. So all of that energy is held in these stones. Massive amounts of anger, depression from childhood, going back age 2, going back in the womb. All of this stuff is being processed here. I had a client just do it last month. She said it was like an ayahuasca experience. She said it was unbelievable. She was like, oh my God, going through all these phases and cleansed all this stuff, never felt so good in her life. It's unreal. So all this stuff that's stored, the liver is like the bottom of the dumpster, you know, let's see what's in there, let's get it out. No one likes to clean it. But all that crap, once it's gone, it's amazing, you know. So the emotional side of it is huge as well. So you're going to detox all that anger, all that fear, even sadness comes out. And there's a super peace and calmness that comes over the body. It usually lasts about 2 days. And then the stones from the back come to the front, and then you feel the same. So each cleanse you're getting more and more stones out, and when you do like 10 or 12 cleanses, when you have no stones left, you maintain with 2 a year. That means you've dumped all of this stuff that's been in for years and years and years. You know, my first cleanse, I was thinking of turkey dinner and like the exact wine we had while forming these stones. I was like, wow. And the next one was McDonald's. Like, oh, that Big Mac, there you go, buddy. So all these things, it's all energy that's entwined with the body. So you're storing all of that there. So getting all that old stuff out, the emotional release is amazing. There's no more anger, there's no more aggression, or it's greatly minimized. All that like raw, it's all stored here. And the stones are storing the majority of it. It's stored in the organ as well, but it's stored majority in these stones. So each time you're getting less and less and less of that. There's a big calm peace that comes over the body. And it's super easy. So I'll send that ebook if anyone wants. But basically you have to do it peak during the new moon. Really, really important. That's the flushing out. You know, the moon holds everything back. The moon, everyone goes a bit crazy. So you don't want to be trying to get rid of stones when the energy's holding it. And you want to go when the tides are out, which is new moon, when all the energies are detoxing, you know. And it's also good to sort of fast during the new moon. It's good to do a lot of things during the new moon. The full moon is just really, really full, sort of energetically. A lot of things are bouncing back. So all the negativity on Earth is basically bounced back, you know. And so you see a high level of crime, suicide, murders, all that stuff increases during full moon. So you want to get rid of all that negative energy when the moon is just a little guy. So it's going to dump everything out. And you're going to start 6 days before the peak. So just Google new moon, you know, this month. I think it's the 15th of June. So you're going to start on the 9th. So you're going to do a kilo.
New moon was this past week?
New moon, full moon.
Oh, full moon.
Yeah, new moon's coming up. The opposite. So yeah, it's on the 15th, so it's going to be on the 9th is when your process begins. So it's 6 days before. It's super easy. I bring in malic acid from the US, which is a little trick. You do a teaspoon of malic acid in a liter of water and just drink that. Or you have to juice a liter of apple juices. Apple juice.
Malic acid is basically like concentrated vinegar and apple cider vinegar, right? Because
yes. You can try to do it that way. I don't know what the recipe would be. If you can get apple cider vinegar. It might be like that much a day, I don't know. But yeah, malic acid is in apple cider vinegar, which makes it so amazing, one of the things. So yeah, you can do malic acid. I don't know if it's found here, probably not. There's not much you can really get here. You gotta bring it all in. So I get malic acid, teaspoon, liter of water, drink that. Day 1, day 2, which is the 9th of this month, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, the 14th, the night of the 15th. You're gonna get some Epsom salt, sal de Inglaterra. And then you mix that. That's basically magnesium sulfate. So that causes a watery stool. So anyone's constipated, typically deficient magnesium. So magnesium, an excess of magnesium just opens up the intestine and dumps it out. So that's the large intestines where we absorb all of our water and form stools kind of thing. So what it does is opens that so everything just keeps coming out. And then we take an olive oil mixture. Olive oil basically puts us in almost like a liver gallbladder attack where it overwhelms it because all the fats have to be broken down in the liver and gallbladder. And then we mix that with, it tastes like salad dressing, it's pretty cool, a little bit of orange juice and lemon. Okay, and the exact recipes there with all the quantities, the 4 ounces, 3 ounces. Yeah, awesome.
Now,
Nice.
how important is for you to do the enema before and after doing? I mean, you really need to.
Yeah, I do coffee enemas before and after. I mean, you can do water enema if you want, but it's just to flush out any, open things up basically, and then to flush out any stones. I've had people that have had stones stuck, and they're sweating and okay, take another malic acid. Woo, not malic acid, the Epsom salt, and it opens up again. So they do it at 6 a.m., they do it at 8 a.m., they do it at 10 a.m. So they do a third one, and that takes care of it so far. But yeah, it's just keeping everything open, making sure everything's really soft. So all the malic acid is so important. And doing them consecutively is really important. People say, I did it once, I'm good. No. you lifted them out of the car and swept it out, you know. You got it now. Go to the other side, go to the other side, keep it going. What?
just wait to the next new moon to arrive.
Yeah, so you do it monthly, monthly, monthly. To get rid of them, the average is 12 to 15 cleanses to get rid of them. Sometimes 20, 25. You're basically waiting until you have no stones for 2 cleanses. They're this tiny. Yeah, it's a minimum 2 years to detox the body. Minimum. I mean, that's doing it fast. That's 100% raw, cleansing, herbs, blood. I mean, think of how much shit we've taken on. It's unbelievable. You know, it's the filter of the car that's just never been changed, of the air and driving, and there's so much stuff in the body. You know, the body's meant to get rid of it, but everything's been changed. You know, there's too much coming in and there's not enough being produced, you know. So the sulfur, you know, we talk about, it's so important. The MSM, supplementing with MSM, we'll go back and finish that off. The MSM should be a plant-based one, has to be raw as well, which is really important. You can find a pine bark MSM, which is like the best source of MSM. I really want to try to figure out how to extract aloe vera, because I don't think anyone's doing that. That's an awesome source. I picked aloe vera at the farm and just chumped it and like, wow, nice. And all you can taste is MSM. So it's so rich in MSM. It's awesome. So adding aloe vera to your smoothie every day, getting that MSM in there is going to start to increase that cysteine. Okay, cysteine is an amino acid that comes from MSM or sulfur, and that grabs a couple friends in the gut called glutamic acid and glycine. It makes a tripeptide, which is 3 amino acids. So that's your glutathione. Okay, so we have issues assembling glutathione. We can't You know, there's no guy producing plastic anymore. There's no guy delivering the garbage bags. So we're trying to do things we can't do anymore. So MSM and sulfur is super, super important because it's just gone in the soil. You know, we're not getting enough of it anymore. So we have to cleanse, cleanse, cleanse. So what we have to do now, it's a lot, but it makes an immediate impact. You know, you can cleanse someone out like 90% in a month, you know, easily. You know, kids are much, much quicker. You know, there's so many sick kids now, but they react so fast. You know, what I mainly do is energetic medicine. You know, I have a device which is the most advanced energetic medicine device in the world. And it basically scans your body, and in 3 minutes you have 750 pages worth of info about you with over 99% accuracy. So that's what I've been doing for 10 years. This is what got me into all this research. Because when you see all that information, you now need to know what to do. It's a jigsaw puzzle. It's saying, okay, this is here. Ah, wow, okay. So putting it all together is really, really important. So we have to know all these different things. So I can pull kids up from anywhere in the world, and you can scan them and treat them from subspace, you know, which is the underlying glue of the universe, where everything is basically one energy, you know, with their name, date of birth, place of birth. And then you give them the whole protocol that they follow, and it makes an immediate difference. So we can detox really, really fast. It just depends on our willingness. You know, it comes down to one thing: compliance. Is how well someone's going to do. You can map it all out to people. I can give the same map to people. One person says, this is ridiculous. I could never do this stuff. You might as well bury me. Okay. Other person says, this is amazing. I can't wait to start. This is awesome. So it's like saying, well, I'm in New York. I want to get to California. Well, here's your map. Someone says, I don't want to drive. No one can push you. So once you have the map, which is, you know, and this is where all the disinformation, misinformation comes in. Once you have that map, you know exactly where to go. What Western medicine does is they put doubt, they put fear, they control, you know. So the frequency of control is 19 hertz. That's the frequency of fear. Frequency of liberation is 528 hertz, which is love. So love is our Fibonacci frequency. We are literally made of love. Our DNA frequency in hertz is 528. So we come out of love. That's why everyone is looking for so much love, and everyone needs to be so much nurtured, you know, today, is because we are born out of that. And we're born into a world immediately of fear, of circumcision, vaccination, all that, to immediately instill that frequency, take away that magic, you know. So we're more controlled. We take away our power of knowing everything, you know. So getting back to that live food and getting rid of all these different things that shouldn't be in the body, we get our power back. You know, it's really, really amazing to see. We get rid of the anxiety, the sadness, the depression, all these things that are unnatural. You know, we should be, to have a human experience, we have this full spectrum of experiencing these emotions, but holding on to them starts to weigh us down. You know, there's only so many anchors we can sort of hold on to. So by doing all of these different things, getting back to our, you know, our spirituality, our roots, our purpose, what are we here to do? There shouldn't be one day spent on not doing your purpose, you know, or at least trying to get there, you know. So our spirituality is so, so important. In the Western world, that doesn't even exist. They believe it's religion, which is the exact opposite of spirituality. That's the same control. So getting back to the whole sort of package is getting into the mind. You know, I've done a lot of research and have publications in psychology. I did a lot of work in self-talk with athletes. And what we found is what you actually say to yourself is way more important than what anyone else says to you, and even what your coach says to you, which is mind-blowing. And that increased your individual confidence more than anything else. And then that increased your performance. And then increase your team performance. All came down to what these individuals said. That was the biggest sort of correlation between all these 30 factors I took in, was what you actually say to yourself. If you believe it, it starts to create it in your mind, and you become it. If you don't, you do nothing. You fail, you know? So it was based on self-efficacy. Self-efficacy, or, you know, what happens is you perceive yourself to be able to do it, so you pursue in the face of failure, you know. So finding all that, getting back to our self-talk, is what you say to yourself you believe, and you're more resilient. Okay, you're not going to be, oh, how do I look? Oh, this person said that. Who cares? You know? Who cares what anyone thinks? It doesn't matter at all, you know. So having that strong sense of spirituality, it's all entwined as one. You know, we have to be doing exercises and things every single day. You know, it's so easy to be brought down into the negative, to the gossip, to the negative self-talk, to I'm not pretty enough. It's designed and geared into society. That's how we're controlled. and it's guaranteed we will be controlled, you know, because it's the opposite. There's a great book called Power versus Force by David Hawkins. And it's one of the best books ever written. It's all in kinesiology. And he did amazing research knowing that we have this internal guidance system unconsciously that we know the truth in every single thing out there. You know, the dowsing and all these different things. And he would take a pesticide, he'd write it down on a piece of paper, he'd put it in 300 audience members' hands and test them all. They'd all test weak at the exact same time, every single one. No one knew what it was. He then would put a name of vitamin in their hand. They would never know again. They all test strong. It's like, wow. He put in inherent truth. They'd all test, you know, without knowing what it was. So the power versus force is interesting because he starts calibrating these different emotions. And he dichotomizes them all. So we talked about,
Can you please repeat the name of the book?
yes, power
Power?
versus force. So we could be living in our power, or we could be forcing life. Okay? So the power is that gratitude frequency. Forcing life is indebtedness, where everyone owes you something. This is horrible. They could have cleaned this better. This house sucks. This is... That is the worst frequency around. You're not going to manifest or create anything except more of that. Okay? So the frequency you hold creates more. So you basically calibrated all these different frequencies and emotions. You know, you'd find that the opposite of, you know, fear obviously was love. You know, gratitude, indebtedness, and you'd have them all, and like, wow. So you can live your life in your own power, or you could be forcing life. They want you forcing life. They want you just dragging your feet. You know, if you got a lot of people to look after, 7 billion, you got to make sure they stay in line a bit. You know, you don't want them getting too much power, you know. So you control the food. You control pretty much everything out there, you know. So spirituality is really, really huge. Self-talk is awesome. Getting into really learning to retrain your mind. What's cool about the brain is we have neuroplasticity of the brain. So in 21 to 30 days, we can change an old habit. So we can instantly start to change the way we see ourselves, the way we see others, the way we relate to others, just by changing what we say to ourselves. So what happens is when we start to say certain things, we start to change our neuropeptides. So neuropeptides are actually on the same receptor cells as heroin. So we can be addicted to these neuropeptides. They're also known as neurohormones, and they're produced in the hypothalamus in response to our thoughts and emotions. So whatever we choose to focus on, we're going to then get a flood of neuropeptides. So if you write a gratitude list, you feel amazing. Wow, I'm the richest man in the world, yeah. If you say what you don't have or who screwed you in life, well, how are you going to feel? That's indebtedness. So these people screwed me, I owed this, I should have had that. You know, and should doesn't exist in most other languages because it's not needed, you know. So getting back to that, holding that high frequency is super important. That gratitude, that love, that joy. And those are the frequencies of manifestation. Because you're basically getting rewarded for holding that same frequency you came in the world with, that 528 hertz. That's the way everything goes. If you start going down, 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 which is, it's really easy to get down there because everything is geared that way, you have to be able to pull yourself up. You know, everyone has to learn to be their own guru. You can't call, oh, mom's not here. You have to learn to switch on the self-talk, to start relating back to yourself, to start getting a smoothie, to start getting Makuna, Damiana, whatever gets you happy high. Start dancing, moving, doing things to pick yourself up. That's really, really important. To be your own doctor, which means teacher, you know. It comes from adductor, which is where we get education from. So being your own guru is really important. Learning as much skill as you can about so many diverse fields is awesome. It's a super cool trip to learn into neuroscience, and then, yeah, I'm learning all about enzymes now. Iodine is mind-blowing. If you start researching iodine, which we'll do some iodine now. So iodine is super awesome. It's needed for pretty much every function of the body. Every hormone cell in the body, as well as every immune cell, needs iodine. Iodine's really difficult to get because we're not eating the sea vegetables and all the other types of things that have iodine in it. Aloe vera will have a bit of iodine in it. The purple cabbage, make some kimchi with purple cabbage or sauerkraut. Awesome for your enzymes. One of the biggest enzyme-rich foods is kimchi. So getting into those probiotics and all that good stuff, super good. So yeah, iodine, it's really, really deficient in everybody now. So they started adding it to like salt, but what they did was so tiny, it didn't really make any difference, and it was so synthetic, it didn't do anything. So iodine is needed for all these hormones. You know, when we see breast cancer, we reverse breast cancer in about 28 days from high iodine supplementation, detoxing, fasting, all that other stuff. Where the doctors couldn't believe it. They kept giving more and more tests saying there must be here, and then the insurance denied the test. They said it's not here, stop ordering more tests, I'm not paying for it. So iodine is really important. So the link to iodine and breast cancer is really, really interesting, because what your body does, if it doesn't have certain things, we talked about biological transmutation, it's going to grab other things, okay? So your body, for women, your body needs iodine in the thyroid, breast tissue, and the ovaries. For men, it's prostate, and thyroid. So what happens is if we don't have enough iodine, which is super, super deficient in all the food now, your body's going to start producing estrogen, excess estrogen. So if you don't have enough iodine for breast tissue, and it's going to use first for the thyroid, for energy metabolism, it's going to take it all out of the breast, it's going to take it all out of the ovaries if it starts running low. So what happens is it takes this big dump of estrogen, and it's going to say, okay, well, this is the next closest thing on a frequency level that we can put to help, okay, to make breast tissue. So what happens is we get a big flood of estrogen, okay, and that causes lumps, you know. Then that causes fibrocystic breast disease, which is iodine deficiency. That leads to breast cancer, and that's about 80 to 90% of breast cancer. And that's caused by other factors, showering chlorinated water. So we talked about the halogen family. So we have chlorine, bromine, which they put in bread. We got perchlorate, which is rocket fuel, which is in all the water in the U.S. And fluoride, which is in all the water as well. So all those basically displace iodine. So we take a bit of iodine in, the lock's been taken, and the key's broken off. So we have our key, and it gets flushed out of the body. So we're losing a lot of our iodine simply from not having enough, but then having all this extra chlorine in the body. Okay, if you fully saturate your body with iodine, you can jump in a chlorinated pool and you won't take any chlorine. So it works the other way as well, which is really cool. So saturating your thyroid with iodine is really, really awesome. And you could do a cool test. You can put a drop of iodine on your skin, and you can wait 24 hours. If it's gone, you need more. If it's still there, you've saturated your thyroid, all your tissues in your body. And we need a massive amount. So the body needs potassium iodide, which Jean Lugel did research in the 1800s of, and she found it was more readily absorbed if you added a potassium or salt molecule to it. So potassium iodide, there's cool guys doing there's a company called Optimox that does something called Iodoral, I-O-D-O-R-A-L, like iodine, I-O-D, then oral. Iodoral, it's a perfect blend of iodine and iodide, potassium iodide. And it basically dumps out all this excretion of bromine, excess chlorine, fluoride, all the stuff that's calcifying the pineal gland, and immediately balances all hormones. So women with all different period issues, just iodine is going to, first two will dump massive blood, which is all detox effect. It's like, all right, you're leaving 2, I'm jumping on. Whee! All that comes out, and then super balanced. So it's all iodine, so, so important. But we're so under attack with all of these other issues, you know, with the chlorine and the bromine and all this other stuff, so we have to detox that. So the Soleil we talked about helps to get rid of that, open up those receptor cells so we can get lots of iodine. So getting a big dose of iodine, we do about 50 milligrams a day of an iodine-iodide blend. That starts to dump everything out, and energy metabolism increases as well. So it's needed for thyroid function. When you see T4, T3, the T is how many iodine molecules. So it's about 90% of Hashimoto's, which Japan has none of. They don't have any thyroid issues. They have virtually no breast cancer. They have 100 times more iodine intake than the average American woman daily. So they don't see any of these issues that are brought on by iodine deficiency. You know, again, that's just one mineral. So the minerals are so, so important. We talk about sulfur, iodine, MSM, DMSO is another form of sulfur. So all these things your body will start to make when you start to increase sulfur-rich foods as well. So the kimchi is awesome, the sauerkraut, because you're getting the probiotics, the prebiotics, the iodine, the sulfur. So the cruciferous vegetables, if they're raw and organic, are going to be the sulfur ones. which is the mustard family. You know, the kale, the Brussels sprouts, the broccoli, collard greens, all those kinds of things. So that's going to be your natural source of sulfur, you know, and make them fermented. You can do so many different fermented books. I forget my fermented book, but it's like the godfather of fermentation. It's got recipes all over the world of all these crazy things, and you just completely go nuts. You know, just keep trying new crazy things, and it tastes awesome. You can't screw it up. So within like 10 seconds of putting salt on like cabbage or any food, you get a completely different bacteria that starts to grow, that starts to ferment it instantly. And they're all completely different that's needed at that time. Where does it come from? Who knows? It's already there. Just wow. So the research on that, yeah, it's amazing. So fermentation, getting sprouting foods is one of the best ways to increase health. We do for like breast cancer, because it's a lot of xenoestrogens as well. We used to do and still do a broccoli sprouted juice, broccoli sprout juice, which is crazy. So we have a cold pressed juicer. We have one of the world's best juicers called the Angel Juicer. It's super slow, 82 RPMs, all stainless steel, surgical steel. You put sprouts in it, broccoli sprouts. We would do 3 liters a day, and you'd get basically a cup like that of straight broccoli sprout juice. And that was equivalent to juicing about 200 pounds of broccoli, or about 90 kilos, which is insane. So it's the biggest source of DIM, which is a methyl donor, and that basically targets xenoestrogens. So people that are on birth control pills, everyone's got xenoestrogens. They really screw up all your estrogen because they're mimics. So getting onto broccoli sprouts is awesome. You know, raw broccoli is good, but if you look at a sprout, it's got almost the same nutrient equivalent as a full head of broccoli. It's just smaller, you know, it's just less water. So if you have a teaspoon of broccoli, that's like having 2 kilos of broccoli, eating. So if you start putting those on your salads, you get an enormous increase of nutrients, enormous, you know. Sulforaphane is loaded in there. So sulforaphane is one of the best ways to get rid of procarcinogens, which are so many out there now. It's going to start dumping all of these chemicals out of the body. You can put that on salads. I put it in a smoothie as well. So broccoli sprouts in the smoothie, blend that up, and you feel super high, super happy. It's awesome. So getting sprouts in, and they're so easy to do. I haven't tried. Yeah, down where we are in Puerto Viejo area, as long as you rinse them a couple times, sometimes you got to scrape away the shells with a little strainer, mix them. The shells like to ferment, but I just take a ball jar and a little screen, and away you go. You don't want to be, people sprout a lot of beans. You don't really want to do that. There's a lot of ricin and things in there that you don't really want to sprout as well. So, any questions? We can keep going. Pick a topic. Nothing at all. I covered everything.
Okay, regarding iodine,
Yes.
seaweed and all of those things.
Yeah, so sea vegetables are the richest source of iodine. The wakame, the dulse, the bladderwrack, all those kinds of things. But it's getting to the point where you can't really eat them anymore because of the Pacific Ocean and the Fukushima and all that. Because they concentrate radiation, you know.
So the best way to get iodine
is supplementing now. Yeah, I mean, you can go this year. After next year, I won't tell anyone to have sea vegetables, unfortunately. And that's for the next 240,000 years till Fukushima goes away. On the good sky. Yeah, it's crazy what humans do. They're completely nuts, you know.
What would you say, like, that are like the most important food sources that you can eat here in Costa Rica?
For iodine?
You should like constantly eat like turmeric and.
Yeah, turmeric ginger is awesome. I love pehi valle. That's like a super food. That's amazing. Super rich of oils and all your fatty acids. Lots of vitamins. I mean, if you've seen the freaking tree, you gotta be a warrior to get up there. So there's gotta be some. There's gotta be some reward for that. Yeah, it's crazy. Just like durian. Durian's the king of fruits. Like the best thing you could ever have.
Are you getting durian in Puerto Rico?
Yeah, they just haven't come for last season, the season before, because of all the rain and there's a super drought. It needs 2 weeks of dryness in the period, and then it can't rain hard because then the flowers come off, and that happened. So we're hoping August, which is the next season, August, February. But yeah, durian's the king of fruits, one of the most magical fruits ever. It's the top aphrodisiac fruit as well. They say in Thailand when the durians are dropping, so do the sarongs. So they used to put it under their bed, just the fumes of it. I mean, loaded with tryptophan, loaded with dopamine, loaded with serotonin. Biggest food source of vitamin E, biggest food source of sulfur as well. So it's the beautifying fruit. Sulfur is needed for skin, keratin, hair. They found that the mangosteen, a lot of the nutrients are in the shell of the mangosteen. So you can make your own superfood. So you take the shell, dehydrate it, and then grind it in a Vitamix, and you got your superfood mangosteen powder, which is amazing. You can also do your own vitamin C powder. Take a lemon and just shave it, a bit, the skin, and that's got 20 times more vitamin C than inside. So inside the fruit. So a lot of the antioxidants are actually in the fruit. That's where most of the immune cell kind of things are. So if you look at resveratrol, which is in the grapes, the skin of red wine, or the grapes, they say, oh yeah, it's great, drink red wine for resveratrol, but to get a medicinal dose, you need to drink 150 bottles a day, which you can't do, at least not living. So yeah, everything is, so they found it was concentrated in the skin. And they started feeding these rats resveratrol on a high-fat diet, which should have cut their life in half. They lived 4 times as long. They said, wow, resveratrol is literally the fountain of youth. And it changed their entire DNA. They lost all their fat, they gained 3 times more muscle. Their immune system completely shifted. So basically taking on in high quantities what these plant kingdom sort of does to maintain a strong sense of immunity. So the plants have everything already inherently in them. We're just not looking at them close enough to figure it out. We lost our ability to intuitively say, wow, yes, I need this now, which is basically what I advocate. It's conscious eating. It's getting back to our pineal gland opening so we know what we need at the time. You go outside and pick 2 of these leaves, pick this, pick that. Wow, I'm really drawn to this. Every day, what is this? You need it, big time. Look what's growing around your house, because that's exactly what's needed for you. It's that balance. There's a great book series called the Ringing Cedar series. I don't know if anyone's read it.
What's it called?
The Ringing Cedar series. It's about Anastasia. Ooh, you're in for a treat. Yeah, it's pretty much the most life-changing book series you'll ever read. It's awesome. So you can get the first one on Kindle. If you have Kindle, it's free, or you can, I don't know who would sell them here. You can get them on Amazon. Amazon ships down here. But it just goes into all the old Vedic knowledge that's been just completely erased. All of it, going back and back and back. It's amazing. So one of them is encoding of seeds. So she talks about how the Vedic people used to encode the seeds. They put it in their mouth, under the tongue for 9 minutes. It would absorb all the energy of the body. You put it in your hand for 30 seconds, you'd give it love. You'd then put it in the ground, and you'd wait. You wouldn't water for 3 days, because you'd wash off all the saliva and all the, basically the encoding of it, And what they found was that every person that encoded that seed, it would grow exactly what that person was deficient in. Every single thing. So it took 8 seeds, 8 different people, complete different nutrient profile for every single plant. So in the book, she says all these things. He says, oh, this is ridiculous. Well, use your scientists, please. Prove me wrong. And everything she says is completely true. She has a direct connection with God. It's amazing. So it's all the answers you've ever wondered about everything, before, after, everything. And there's all footnotes. The Ringing Cedar series, there's 9 books. Book 1 is called Anastasia. And that introduces her and her ability to just, do everything. And she says, we all used to do this. We used to travel with teleportation. Watch me do it. So yeah, the encoding of the seeds is old Vedic stuff, so it's old knowledge that's been erased, And she talks about the average shelf life for an apple is 2 minutes. Cherry, 32 seconds. Then it's pretty much on its way out. So it all comes down to having your space of love. If everyone has a half-hectare space of love, the whole earth is a paradise overnight. There's no more pollution. There's no more garbage. There's no more plastic. There's nothing. Because your space of love you could never pollute. Everyone has that. It's amazing. So it goes into all community living, growing everything, having a living fence, going how they used to do weddings. Everyone would bring 2 or 3 herbs and help plant. They'd all build their house together. The whole, it just goes into everything. It'll blow your mind. And how we do cemeteries now is completely crazy. Keeps the spirit down with this rock and it holds them there with their name. They used to bury them under trees and the knowledge would be there for all the grandkids to go meditate. They'd download all the knowledge from the grandparents. So it's all stuff that we used to do that was amazing, you know? And it tells us, well, this is how, remember this. Ah, yes, that sounds much better than what's happening now, you know? So it gives us all this information about so many different things. That we used to eat as if we breathed, which is one of the biggest things, you know, because we lived in such a rich pollen area that we could just breathe and bring in all the pollen and all the energy of the plants. You know, the pollen's the sperm of the plant kingdom. That's why bee pollen's an awesome food, speaking of that. My favorite natural, you know, sort of food, if you're into bee products. Bee pollen, they found, is 1 part per million a superfood, which is insane. And the bees do a lot of work. So if you take a teaspoon in your smoothie, those bees have gone to 2.5 million flowers to get that pollen. It's a lot of work. They work themselves to death. But they're responsible for most agriculture now. The U.S. has lost 40% in the last year alone in the U.S. So saving the bees, really important. But yeah, bee pollen is awesome. Raw honey is awesome as well, you know. There's so many things out there that are just amazing. You know, you got to get your sort of list together. You know, it's really good to find the stuff that's here. You know, the best herb for the kidneys in the world is here, Chancapiedra. They call it Renoncillo, you know. So find the stuff that is the best ever here, you know, and learn how to use them. Learn what grows in your backyard. You know, learn how to catch water. Just do things that are more empowering, that help you and others live a happier life. You know, with so much, not so much dependence. You know, because the system, yeah, we all pretty much know is broken. It doesn't work anymore. It's fairly self-evident. So no one's going to change it other than us. You know, you can't fight the system. You can disconnect. And say, no, I'm not going to curse the tap water. Hey, check out my rainwater tanks. Yeah, you know, check out my spring water. Oh, these tomatoes are full of pesticides. Check out my tomato garden. I mean, that's the best thing you can do. And then you inspire others to do the same because it's really easy. You know, we have Google now. You can pretty much do anything you've ever wanted on the internet, you know, for now. So, yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
I heard you mention before Mucuna.
Yeah.
I've heard Mucuna as a cultural drink. It has a specific medicinal.
Yeah, Mucuna is awesome. We've reversed Parkinson's in 20 days. I've had it for 6 years with Mucuna. It's the biggest plant source of L-Dopa, which is a precursor to dopamine. So yeah, you can take it. You can. I mean, if you want a strong medicinal one, you can do a decoction of it, which is 12 minutes boiling with the lid on, and then strain and drink. Or you can just blend it up. You know, we grow it ourselves. It runs up as a vine, and then the little pods come down, the seeds, and yeah, we dehydrate them and then grind it down to a powder. But it's like one of a big happy high sort of herbs. It's the only herb that has like hydroxytryptophan, so the precursor to serotonin and melatonin and niacin, so it's a calm brain relaxer. Regulates blood pressure. It's great for people with low blood pressure, because dopamine constricts the arteries. People with low blood pressure are usually too anxious and worried and stressed, so they're always making their tyrosine to make adrenaline. Tyrosine makes L-Dopa dopamine, so they're bypassing that. So yeah, Mucuna is great for low blood pressure. It's great to sleep deep. It's just a great, happy, adaptogenic herb. It's one of the top in Ayurvedic that they use every day, and it grows here as well. So get some seeds, it'll just run up a little vine, anything. It's super easy to grow. They sprout like in 2 days this big. And then 3 months the whole thing dies, and then you crack them open and you got your medicine. Pretty cool. Yeah, so learning the local medicine is just awesome. There's so much here that's, I mean, mind-blowing. My mom had a flu, and she came down, I'm like, take this, Gavilana. She's like, no, it's bitter. I'm like, it's awesome. 30 seconds later, everything goes, she's like, wow. Yeah, Gavilana is amazing. You know, Sorcy as well, bitter melon, #2 for cancer. That's a good topic. All right, we'll do a quick talk on, yes, go for it.
I have another question about turmeric. I remember you said it is good to reduce tumors. So which amount could be great for that?
So with turmeric, they know it's absorbed better with some kind of fat. So you'd mix it mainly with coconut oil. It's great. If you even put black pepper in it, you get a 50 times increase of that as well. So mixing both of those. The amount depends on the person and what's sort of happening, but any amount is going to start to be good for them. We mainly juice it in pretty big quantities, because people are trying to basically reverse cancer in 30 days, and they do 30-day programs, and it's drink, and we do 6 to 10 liters a day of juice, and then all kinds of other decoctions and herbs. Graviola, guanabana, it's the top anti-cancer herb in the world. Bitter melon's number 2. It's amazing. So many herbs here. If you start to see them, they're so empowering. You don't need anything. We have a complete medicine cabinet here. It's mind-blowing. If you don't know, you have an ailment that something's for, just search, and you'll be there. It'll already be at your feet, most likely. There's so many medicinal weeds here. You can go outside and eat probably 10 different weeds, and put them in your salad. Oh, this is vitamin C. This is rockweed. This grows over here. And so it's just learning what grows here. Empowering yourselves with knowledge is super, super important. And what they've basically done is dispowered us. Said, don't worry, we're the smartest people in the world. You know nothing. We're going to tell you everything. We're like, okay, well, I have this cut. What do I do? Well, you need this poison antibiotic cream. Done. Oh, wow, great. So we've basically disempowered ourselves by giving our power to other people, so they're making a lot of money from all of it. Western medicine was started by the Rockefellers, the same people that started the modern agricultural system, which said in 1945, when we add NPK to the soil, we're also going to displace all the sulfur. We're going to see a massive increase in cancer in the next 50 years, which is where we're at now. So all these things have been done purposely, so we have to reverse it. We have to start growing our own things. We have to start not being profit through fear, and empowering ourselves with real knowledge. Learning the herbs, learning the medicine. As Hippocrates says, let food be thy medicine. So the foods you take every day are the medicine. What are now the herbs that you take every day? That's the food, which is the second half, which is often neglected. Let foods be thy medicine, but let medicine be thy food. We take about 8 different herbs every day, at least. That we need, just to sort of combat the everyday, stress of living on this planet right now, which is going through immense changes. There's so much negativity being released right now, and so much sadness and apathy and depression, and it's shaking the entire world. The amount of earthquakes is all from the people not doing their purpose, not being happy, not being human, not being 528 hertz, being sad, depressed, lonely, diseased, not knowing where to turn. So empowering people with this knowledge is amazing, because it's so easy. It's really difficult to be diseased. You have to do the same thing that hasn't worked for years and years and years and years and years. So getting healthy is now more difficult. So staying healthy is super awesome. So any concern you have, it's the best advice is to get on it instantly. Don't wait, I'll do this later. No, what is causing this right now? Okay, I've cleansed, I've done this didn't work, I've done this, let's try this, let's just keep going, Have to get to all these little things, because there's so many, issues environmentally impacting us that we have to sort of stay on top of everything and teach others how to do the same, There's no time to be healthy and vibrant than today, There's no waiting, tomorrow, next week, next year. The cancer rate is increasing. They estimate it's going to be 80% in the next 20 years in the U.S. 80%. What? That's insane. Everyone will basically have cancer in the next 20 years. And that's not alarming. That's insane. And they have no answer for it. Their chemo's 2% effective. So it's looking at things, saying, well, is cancer really a disease? Or is it what the body cells undergo in the presence of low oxygen, low pH, and lack of minerals, emotional stress and all that? The body never turns on itself. It always does everything it can in what you've given it. The cards you've dealt it. Okay, I'll break this, I'll do this. If you give it more cards, you can do a lot more, So cancer is basically that sort of survival mechanism the body cells have to undergo. There's not too many people dying of cancer. They're dying of acidosis with cancer or from the treatment. Very, very fast, So we have to look at the whole industry and saying, well, why are the oncologists getting 80% of their money from selling chemo? Does that make sense? No. Does the 2% efficacy make sense? No. So we can't go to a used car salesman and expect him to sell us a bike. It's never going to happen. The car is the most amazing thing ever, you know. Any more questions? Good. All right, has everybody had enough? Good for now? All right. Well, if anyone's interested, tomorrow I'll be here if anyone wants, and I have slots for 3 sessions. Brought my little energetic medicine device. If anyone wants, we'll discount it for you guys. So you get a session that's like an hour and a half. We go over everything happening, and then I send you a big protocol, which is like 25, 28 pages, depending on the person, which is all of your risks, your mineral deficiencies, all the foods to take to balance it, and amino acid deficiencies, hormones, emotions. It's more information than most people can handle. But it's always fun and interesting. So if you want to do something like that, there's nothing in the world like it. That's basically what got me started on all this, is poking myself up and being like, what is that? You know, dairy toxins. So yeah, you get to learn a lot about yourself.
You're doing this tomorrow?
Yes, if people want. Otherwise, I go back to Puerto Viejo.
What time?
What time?
I could do a 10, 12, and 2. You're in. Nice.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in.
Cool. And there's also distant sessions as well, which is basically the same. So I just need someone's name, date of birth, place of birth, and then we Skype over all the information. You get it all emailed, and yeah, you can take the biggest skeptic, and they're like, "Oh, how's that wrist pain on your right arm?" What? And yeah, TMJ on the left side. And those are just the physical things. So yeah, it's cool because 99% of what's happening in the body is unconscious. So we're not aware of what enzymes our liver is producing, or how many stones we have in our gallbladder, or if we even have them. And you know, we just have this human experience. We're known of this and that. You know, and we're a shadow of thousands and thousands of lives that we've had before. We've remembered every single one, every second of every one in the supercomputer, and we have this little dot. You know, if anyone has a piece of paper, you can dot on this entire, regular sheet of paper, and when everything is covered, you pick one dot, and that's your conscious mind. The rest is your entire unconscious. So it's basically scanning that unconscious at a frequency level, because everything exists in the world as a frequency. So we have the quantum level. The quantum level is the smallest unit of energy. So you have 120 million quanta that make up one atom. So the atoms then make up the electrons. So our thoughts are intervening at the quantum level. That's how they're carried in the alpha waves of the brain through subspace, which is the carrier, and they're basically interacting. So we're magnets, we're electromagnetic frequencies. So we're bringing into reality the most insane things you ever thought were possible if you keep holding that same frequency. That frequency is going to be sucking, and this is how you manifest. I can give you hundreds of stories of manifestation that blows people's minds. It doesn't make sense to me, but it's holding that frequency. This is what I want. No, that's crazy. That'll never, watch. I'll give you one quick story, which is funny. But holding that frequency is really important. So we went to the US, we said, we want a car rental, but they were so ridiculously expensive. And I said, we didn't have licenses, we had nothing. That's a whole nother manifestation story. We got licenses in one day, should take 2 weeks. We got that, and we rented a car. Went down to the place, rented it online, went down there. We said we wanted a minivan. We said for 2 weeks, we got to fit. I have 4 kids, keeps me busy. So we need to fit everyone in the car, so we need a minivan. Minivans were like ridiculous. They're like $300 a day. I'm like, that's insane. I want to pay like $40 a day. No, $30 a day for a minivan. Booked this other car online. Whatever, we'll settle for this. We went down there. Guess what's the only car there? The minivan. The rental guy says, well, in 20 minutes I'll have 7 other cars here. This is really unusual. Do you want this brand new minivan for the same price you paid for this? I said, yeah, that'll work. And he said, okay, well now you need insurance. I said, I don't even live in this country. I got my insurance card, my brother, I'm like, I'm on this policy. They said, okay. I haven't lived there in 12 years. That's impossible. Here, I got to call her. I'm like, you're going to call her. So they call this lady, and she says, yep, Gregory, you're on the policy. Everything's all good. Thank you. And I'm like, my mom goes, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I'm like, it doesn't at all. Nothing makes any sense. So we got the car for the exact price for, everything, and the insurance, and it was crazy for like $30. But yeah, if you hold those frequencies, it's a frequency of manifestation. So put down goals. Goals is like the most important thing. If you don't have goals, you're a piece of seaweed. oh, I'm going to try this. This is fun. This is nice. So really figuring out at the beginning of the year, near the end of the year, what do you want in 2016? What do you want this month? I want to do this. I want to do that. I want this to happen. I want to manifest this. I want to move here. I want to travel here. I want to whatever. You know, I want to do this workshop. I want this. Figure out what you actually want and write it down. As soon as you write it down, it actually solidifies it in the universe. You're saying, this is what I want. And that's really, really important. Then you have steps to achieve it. Okay, I want a master's degree. Well, that's impossible. Well, if I do this and this and this, I could do this class here and this I could do online. And wow, I could get it just by doing this. If people say, oh, it's impossible, it is impossible because you don't actually make the effort. So figuring out goals is really important. Holding that, like, you know, I work a lot with people, 55 to 65-year-old women. That's the hardest because they have no idea what they want, most of them. They go, they've never been asked that. They just did things, you know? And they're like, I don't know, what do you want? What makes you happy? I don't know. Oh, I can't help you unless you know, I don't know. I don't know. I won't do anything if I don't work. I don't know what to do myself. Well, no, the handcuffs get you lots of room now, but hey. So yeah, it's just figuring out really what you want and making it happen. So goal setting is an awesome, awesome way to do that. Did a lot with athletes and things with goal setting, team goal setting. You can do family goal setting, what you want to manifest. We have vision boards that we do every week and put them down. And then you'll forget you did something and it's like, wow, okay, the surfing lesson was just given to you and that's what you wanted to do and it wasn't, you know. So yeah, just writing stuff down is really important, getting those goals set out, finding a way to make things happen. That's because everything's a vibratory frequency. So this, how we got on all this, the thoughts are intervening at this quantum level. So we have the quanta that makes up the atoms. Atoms make up the electrons. Electrons are making up our cells. Okay, electrons are our biggest source of electrons. Quiz time. The earth. Nice. So then that's making up our cells. Cells are making up our tissues. Tissues are making up our organs. Organs make up the organ system. And then we have organism. And then we have this room. San Jose. You can keep going. The universe never ends. There was a thing online you Googled and it showed the Hubble telescope, and they did a quick blast of the universe, or it was like 1/10 billionth of the universe, and it lasted for like 20 minutes of just blasting through hundreds of galaxies, and we were this little thing at the end. It's like, no, this is just your galaxy, and then went in and it, like, wow, and there's you. Nice. Puts it into perspective. So yeah, everything's frequencies. Manifesting, creating everything is really, really important. You can manifest really, really fast when you have clear connections. You know, that battery connection, clean it out, just like you. Clear connection to the universe, earthing, grounding. Yoga is awesome for all of that as well. Movement therapy, so good. Keeping that body vibrant with live foods, all the enzymes. Cleansing any crap that comes out, whether it's a person, or whether it's a pesticide, whether it's a chemtrail, whether it's radiation. All of these things are combating our whole energy field. Everything starts in the energy field. You're entwined with everyone's energy field. You know, every 3 meters, your aura basically is entwined with everybody else's. So you download everyone else's stuff. So understanding all of that, cleansing your partner as well is awesome, works good for you. Giving your partner a massage is awesome for you because the energy you transfer then transfers back to you. Same as giving love to your food, love to your water. It's an investment back in you. You know, so all these little things just help everything. So tomorrow we have a 10, 12, 2. You're a 10 man? 2, cool. So there's the 12 left. Thank you guys. If you have any questions, so the website is beyondthrival.com. Beyondthrival, not tribal. Thrival.com. So it's a membership site where you get all kinds of videos. They're all high definition videos, like 3-minute blurbs of 20 hours of research. And then on the screen you'll see all this different stuff written. So it's like a really cool thing that no one's doing. That's so necessary now. Memberships are usually $100 a year. They're $50 now for the next 5 days or so, which is cool. Or you can do a monthly thing, which is $5 a month. Or you have a 2-week trial as well, which is good. You can check it all out. Yes? Nothing? No question? No, you look like you did. So yeah, we'll do, Juan Pablo wanted to do 3 talks, so I'll do a couple more coming up. It's not going to be Monday. It'll be, I think, a month or so from now.